This week on the show, we're talking Guy Ritchie's latest film, The Gentleman. Stick around for this slick, stylish, fast-paced, quick-witted crime thriller, a brilliant ensemble cast, and a tabloid editor being treated with far more respect than he deserves. I'm David.
And I'm Caolán.
And this is Two Men, a podcast. I'm going to make understatement of the year here, Caolán, and say I don't understand America. I don't understand anything about America, but what I don't understand the most is their taboo of the word cunt.
Yeah.
It's so confusing to me.
Yeah, they don't like that word.
They drop, racial slurs left, right, and centre and all sorts, but not the word cunt. That's off limits.
Yeah, I have noticed that actually. Yeah, you never get. It's always thrown out as the worst insult you could throw at someone. Ricky Gervais hates that word.
Yeah,
like he disdains anyone who uses it. Yeah, I don't actually. Now that you mention it, yeah, I haven't. I don't really understand that.
It's so very confusing to me. I just don't understand it.
Do we have any words they have that we wouldn't? I don't like the word hella. I use it, but I don't like it in a like. It's the go-to word to use when you're making a teen film.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You force hella into a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, we have a couple of friends who use it, and it's fallen into my vocabulary, but I'm not happy about it.
Slugs use it a lot.
Yeah, Slugs uses it a lot. I don't like it. It's found its way into
Begsy uses it.
My subconscious.
I think it's just a Ridley's thing.
It might be a Ridley's thing. Yeah, I'm not a fan, and I will burn myself at the stake. So, how have you been, David?
I've been pretty good. Very much enjoyed The Gentleman.
Yeah, it's been a good week. If you're listening to this, you've probably seen that we have released a Halloween special. Two very easy movies to watch.
Yeah.
And we don't need to talk about Halloween. You've seen that episode. The Gentleman, Dave, what do you think?
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
How many times have you seen it this week, David?
This week is in Monday to now, or
Monday
this
to
week's
now,
in the last 7 days?
7 days, Monday to now, whichever is more impressive.
Well, Monday to now is 3 times. Last 7 days, 5 times. It's so good.
Last 7 days being from last Friday as we record here.
Yes.
That is a ridiculous claim.
Yeah.
I love this movie, but not enough.
Oh,
I don't love it David Murphy levels.
It's so good. I love Charlie Hunnam in it. I love Matthew McConaughey in it. I love Matthew McConaughey in everything anyway.
Yeah.
I love Colin Farrell. I love Hugh Grant. This is only the second Hugh Grant movie I've seen because, I'm not one of the titular Desperate Housewives. But I love Hugh Grant in this.
Have a look at his IMDb for now. I really like Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
A lot in this, especially.
Star of Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, I have that written down too. In Love Actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I'm a big fan of Love Actually.
The only Hugh Grant film I've seen is About a Boy.
Oh, great film.
Excellent film.
Yes, great
Possibly
film.
the best original soundtrack of a film.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant is great. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, yes.
Haven't seen it.
Not a whole lot else here jumping out at me. A lot of films I've never heard of, actually. So You Want to Be a Pirate. Yeah, Hugh Grant. This whole film falls apart if Hugh Grant is not as outstanding as he is.
Yeah. He makes this film.
This film is just one long monologue.
Yeah. It's an inspired casting as well because he plays this slimy tabloid private investigator, and Hugh Grant famously hates private investigators, hates tabloid journalists.
I think the whole film's casting is pretty
inspired, yeah.
Almost perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's one of the standout casts I've seen in a film. Even actors going into it where I don't remember that I've seen them in many.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name right now. Who plays Roz.
Oh, Michelle Dockery.
I have the IMDb open here, but I've lost it for
Michelle Dockery. She's in Non-Stop. She's in Defending Jacob.
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
Yeah, so I've not seen her in anything else really, but she's fantastic in this movie.
She's excellent in Defending Jacob as well, and completely different to characters.
Oh, is she the mother?
Yeah, she's the mother.
I've not seen that yet either. Jeremy Strong comes in as Matthew.
Yeah, Jeremy Strong's brilliant in this. I saw a really confusing article actually. I just saw it on Twitter, and it said something like Jeremy Strong is TV's new Son of Anarchy. And I assumed he was in Sons of Anarchy. No. He wasn't. I went through the article. There's no reference to Sons of Anarchy other than this headline.
What presumably they mean he causes anarchy then?
Just don't understand.
But I don't get what
I haven't
means.
watched Succession, which is his big thing. He's also in the Trial of Chicago 7.
That we are covering next week, or we're going to say it at this episode anyway. So, but is it that version or is it a different?
Yeah, it is that version.
Henry Golding is Dry Eye.
Yes,
I want to call a particular acclaim to. He is in Crazy Rich Asians, which is I think the only thing I've seen him in.
I have not seen that.
And he's fantastic in this. He's hilarious.
He's brilliant, yeah.
One of many that's hilarious in this film.
Yeah. Back to Hugh Grant for a second, because he is like famously anti-Sun. He's
What does that mean for anyone listening? Anti-Sun.
anti-tabloid newspaper, essentially.
The Sun.
Oh yeah, the Sun. Yeah.
Not
he doesn't wanna,
only come out in the darkness.
Yeah, he's not like Mr. Burns who wants to put a blockade over the Sun.
Okay.
He won a libel lawsuit against a magazine called Today, which has since been put out of business a year later. He got a settlement from the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday because they published just false reports about, they basically claimed they had ex-girlfriends of Hugh Grant on and published just complete bullshit, and then
That does not sound like a tabloid.
no, not at all. And then in 2011, I don't know if you've heard this, but he published an article called "The Bugger Bugged." He taped an interview with a tabloid, I'm using the term journalist very loosely here, but with a tabloid journalist, and he basically published this in an article. The journalist who worked for the News of the World admitted to wiretaps and claimed that every Prime Minister from Thatcher onwards had been very close with Rupert Murdoch, who's head of the World of News, and David Cameron in particular had asked police to drag their feet when they're investigating Sun journalists. He claimed 20% of the Metropolitan Police had taken bribes from tabloid journalists, and this led to the revelation that they'd been running wiretaps on murder victims, including the 13-year-old Millie Dowler, which put the News of the World pretty much in serious legal trouble.
Wow. I'm amazed I haven't heard of this. Damn.
Yeah, and then in 2018, as a result of this, he received a six-figure sum settlement from the News of the World, and he just gave it to the Media Standards Trust.
Yeah, this Hugh Grant.
Yeah, great guy. This
Film star, world saver.
Caught with a prostitute in Los Angeles.
World saver.
Yeah, exactly.
This. Before we get too far in, I just want to say this film has the right tone to it.
Yeah.
Which immediately you get from the fantastic credits.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for any film that plays with, or even show really, that has a cool opening credit.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you'd watch a film, you might skip some of it. If it's a particularly long credit scene, you might skip it. Yeah. You can't skip the general.
No, it's lovely.
It's like Game of Thrones credit scenes. I just had to draw attention to that as I see that I have McConaughey spelled terribly wrong on my
I have no idea how to spell it.
I just have McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Just so I knew who I could have said Matthew. But yeah, so I'd love to give credit to whoever designed those credits if I knew who they were or cared enough to look. But very, very good. This film is fantastic. I just would say anyone watch it, but I assume most people know. We always forget that we have a spoiler-free section.
Yeah.
Before I just blow into it. So I want to stress that a spoiler-free review is watch it, please.
Yeah.
Very good film. David's seen it 24 times.
Yeah.
This is David's Superbad.
Exactly, yeah.
Which I have seen 1,000 times. McConaughey getting out of rom-coms.
That's the best thing that's ever happened to the world.
McConaughey getting out of rom-coms is such an... It's a ridiculous thing to think now that he was so typecast.
Exactly, yeah. He spent 10 years as a rom-com leading man.
Him and Hugh Grant, rom-com stars in this movie.
And the McConaissance.
The McConaissance, which is highlighted with his Oscar win.
Yes.
But his best performance is in a TV show.
True Detective.
And I think he's fantastic in this. I've just, as I was saying to you just before we started recording, he is in shockingly nothing that I've seen since Interstellar.
I watched Gold recently, which is very good about him. He's a prospector looking for gold in Indonesia.
I have no doubt that he's fantastic in all of these movies because Matthew McConaughey is a treasure. He plays the sophisticated American quite well, but also has that rugged side to him that
and I think he shows both really well in this film. He is this kind of, he's got this reputation that he came up the hard way, but he's there's this whole thing that he had the reputation, he's
dropped it now.
Yeah, and he's trying to get out of the game.
I never want to see him get out of this game. I want to follow Mickey Pearson for the rest of
the TV series coming out.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, apparently.
Starring Matthew McConaughey?
Starring Matthew McConaughey and Guy Ritchie's involved.
I would be very into seeing this, yeah.
Essentially, this is a movie that's just... It's essentially your man Fletcher, played by Hugh Grant, trying to sell a script to Miramax. I'd say pretty much 95% of this film is told through Hugh Grant's eyes, and this kind of makes it unreliable. He's kind of an unreliable narrator because this is called out a couple of times by when he's talking to Ray, who's Charlie Hunnam's character, where he introduces Dry Eye as this kind of like, you know, this millennial firecracker coming in from the Far East shooting people, and Ray's kind of like doesn't sound
he
like Dry Eye.
exaggerates an awful lot of the story.
And there's a couple of really kind of smaller details that I've picked up in my 24 rewatches.
Yes, I would imagine there is, or you've got nothing from this.
Yeah. At top of the scene there where Ray corrects him, there's another scene where Fletcher starts going on about Matthew killing Dry Eye. Yeah, shoots him in the dick and shoots Fahook in the head, which also didn't happen, and Ray corrects him on that. But there's a couple more. There's Fletcher says to Ray early on in the movie, he uses the phrase, "There'll be blood and fucking feathers everywhere, darling." And about 5 minutes later, when he's telling Ray about Matthew, played by Jeremy Strong, and Mickey, played by Matthew McConaughey, when they meet, Mickey's wife, Rosalind, turns to him and says, you know, you let him in the hen house, there'll be blood and fucking feathers everywhere. The other one is, he starts talking about Ray sending the dominoes flying everywhere, Fletcher does. And then in the end, a domino analogy comes back, which, you know, again, it just kind of like hints that this is potentially like this
from his eyes,
exactly,
not so much what actually happened.
The script he gives Ray is called Bush, which is actually a working title for this film.
Yes, I did know this one.
And the last one I have is in this meeting that Michael has with Dry Eye. Dry Eye takes out his phone and like basically you can hear him typing in. Yeah, he types in 1 and then 18 zeros, which is 1 quintillion. And I've done some maths here to show how ridiculous this is. So Mickey's business makes 100 million a year. Matthews estimates that weed will go legal in 10 years. So that is 100 million by 10 is 1 billion. Yeah, so you would need 1 billion years of that revenue to break even on this 1 quintillion deal. But when it goes legal, Mickey estimates that it'll take 15 years.
That's about 15 years.
Yeah. Or he compares it to alcohol prohibition, that it'll take 15 years, and in that time the business will be worth $500 million. Let's say you're using that $500 million. It'll take 2 million years to reach the 1 quintillion. So this is just, and that's not even considering that after the 15 years his profits are going to drop off because there'll be more competition, and on top of that it'll probably be much shorter than 15 years because, you know, that's comparing it to prohibition, which was nearly 100 years ago. You know, increased labor, increased capital, and everything's gone up, so this will take much shorter.
Not a great deal for
so Dry Eye, if this is true, is an idiot. So
I took it as not true though.
Yeah, exactly.
I took it as just Fletcher saying that they offered him a butt fuck of money.
Yeah, he offered him a butt fuck load of money.
A lot more than Matthew's willing to give him.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because there's no way. And Mickey asks for a few more zeros before he even considers the topic. Yeah, so not a good deal. I can't believe he has that money just lying around to throw at this sort of business. Yeah, in cash. Yeah, very exaggerated sum of money.
Like, what was his plan if he said, yeah, okay, I'll take that deal?
It has that 40-foot container full of just dollar bills.
Yeah.
He's one of them you pay the fine in 20-cent coins.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Quarters.
You're rocking up to Ridley's with.
Yeah, I didn't even consider how many. I didn't even think to count because he just presses zero for about 10 minutes before he. I would take the money.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You offer me 1 quintillion for my
100 million a year business, I will happily give it to you. Yes. Get out of this damn game. I don't think he wants out of this game, David.
No.
I don't think he particularly wants out of this game
because he gets dragged back into the game very easily.
It takes almost no persuasion.
Yeah.
For him to just bloody his hands immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about some of the cast.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about now is Colin Farrell, the coach. The scene where all the wee kids are hassling him when he's trying to eat his burger or whatever is fantastic. What I want to know is, do you see the people who run when the kids pull the knives?
Yeah.
Once the fight kicks off, why is there still people sitting on the chairs?
I don't think
all those people would have stayed.
No.
One of them's like a woman who looks terrified but not scared enough to get up and walk out.
And an old man, yeah. They all just kind of huddle in the corner.
Yeah.
But that scene's hilarious. Like, because basically the kids all come in and they're all just kind of yelling and being loud, and Colin Farrell's standing at the counter for visit Chippy, and he just turns around and goes, "What's the smell of wee in here?"
Yeah, which kind of immediately made me think it was going to be that kind of Colin Farrell. You get two Colin Farrells. You get a really good Colin Farrell, and you get that first line Colin Farrell, where you think he's going to be, I thought he was going to be such an annoying character.
But he's some of the lines he comes up with just in that scene, like one of the kids goes up to him and it kind of squares up and he's like, "You take 2 steps back, son. You got your mouthwash muddled up with cat piss."
Yeah. Some of it's great here.
And one of the kids goes, "I'll wet you." he pulls out a knife. He's like, the only thing you can wet's your underpants, son.
What is it? He turns around and he says, I'm on fire here. This is about to back at me. Something funny. He goes,
Make it quick.
Fuck
make it funny.
you. That's disappointing. Yeah, Colin Farrell's great in this.
And the scene with Fuck in the trunk.
Oh yes, it's
where he opens up and he's like, it's
Fuck.
It's fuck, but it's spelled with PH, so it sounds like fuck, but it's fuck.
Fuck.
And Charlie Hunnam's there like, so it's fuck. Yeah, something like that.
I've come to realise recently that I really like Colin Farrell.
I love Colin Farrell.
I don't know what my problem was with him, but he played. I think any sort of Irish accent that's so thick, kind of puts me off, just because it always feels exaggerated, even if it's not.
Yeah.
But between this and In Bruges, I think he's so good. Even Seven Psychopaths, he's so good at just adding a little bit of comedy where there might not be for other people.
He's such a great kind of almost like an absurd character.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. Like in Bruges, he's this hitman who's just he's just got this kind of bizarre sense of humour, and he's just so good.
He is fantastic in Bruges.
So is Brendan Gleeson. Recommendation of the week is
not Donald Gleeson.
No, not Donald Gleeson. His father, Brendan Gleeson.
And in Bruges, we're gonna have to add to that fucking.
I think it's on the list.
Oh, it's on the document.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to add that because that's a fantastic movie. That's gonna squeeze its way in our schedule as soon as we stop recording this. Yeah, like I said, the cast's all pretty great. I don't know, I had some stuff I just wanted to talk about Roz in my notes.
Yeah.
But I don't have any particular topic that I don't have a particular thing to bring up about her. What I will say is she's very believable.
Yeah.
As the wife of a mobster.
Yeah.
Her with the paperweight gun at the end is hilarious. Her just complete indignation to being about to be raped.
Yeah.
Is so off-putting to him.
Yeah,
but I don't believe she would be worried about it.
Yeah.
And then oh hello love. Yeah. I love it so much.
The scene when she's got the paperweight and she's talking to Fat Tony, even just the way she talks is just so funny. Yeah. She's like, you're under my roof. Tony has no obligation to anything except fuck off from whence he came. And it's just like, it's almost like, because she got such a like Cockney accent and she's like speaking like proper English, and it's just so funny.
It is. It's a great mix. There was another one, the back and forth any chance between McConaughey and what did you say her name was?
Michelle Dockery.
I just think that's such a funny through line the whole way. Yeah. I always like it. Because I picture McConaughey just begging, please can I have sex with my wife tonight, please.
Another scene that's absolutely brilliant is at one point Mickey has this kind of like working relationship with all these like dukes and duchesses and lords. Yeah. And one of them asks him to get their daughter back, who's living in this council flat with a load of smankies.
Struggling with addiction, yes.
Yeah. So Ray, played by Charlie Hunnam, and these three basically just massive, huge Bunny. I love Bunny. I love when like in like a gangster movie or something, when
really tough big men
has like a funny name. Yeah, like
Squeaky
John.
Or like
exactly. Yeah. It's like how we call you Fluffy.
Yeah, Fluffy. No one calls me that. No.
We all call you Fluffy.
Yeah, Bunny's hilarious.
Yeah. So he knocks on the door to this apartment, and this guy Brown opens the door, and he says, "What can I do for you, officer?" He's like, "I'm not with the police. I think it would be much easier if you just let me in. I just want to talk about Laura Pressfield, who's the top daughter." Yeah. And your manager goes, "No, fuck off," and just slams the door. And they come back up with the big door ram that police used to knock on
Vikings would have. Yeah.
And they just slam the door open, and the two boys just walk in. It's like, everyone sit down. And Ray in this scene is so fucking funny. He starts talking to Bunny. He says, "How much are you lifting now, Bunny?" And he goes, three wheels aside. And he turns to...
I have that in my notes, yeah.
He turns to Brown, "What do you lift? What about you, Brown?" And he goes, What could I lift?" And he goes, "You couldn't lift a wheel of cheese, you cunt."
Yeah, I have that written down, yeah. I think I rewinded a couple of seconds the first time I watched the film, just because that's such a hilarious line. Especially just his delivery. It's hilarious. This whole scene's great.
It's great. And basically this ends up with the Russian kid getting thrown out the window. And then there's three kids take pictures of him. So they're chasing down the three kids. And one of them runs, the one that Ray's chasing, runs down to like a big gang of people.
With about 20 people.
Oh yeah. And he goes, "What are you going to do now? I've got backup." He's like, You couldn't back up a phone, you cunt.
I do love it. It does shout at that taboo of the cunt.
Exactly, yeah.
It feels so weird to hear the word cunt in a film, even though it's such a...
It feels like
you hear it all the time here. Like.
Yeah, it feels much more like how people would talk.
Oh yeah.
Than in American films.
Oh, you're such a dipshit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work. No. Oh, what's the? Oh, there's a dork or something like that. That's the kind of insult you're throwing at them in American movies. And your man pulls out a massive machete.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. Just pull it out of your back pocket. No worries.
And Ray just pulls out this big fucking MP5 and shoots in the air and just points it at this child.
Who is the only one who doesn't move, which is convenient.
Yeah. But, he just points at this child. And he's like, put the phone on the ground. And then the kid's just like, puts it on the ground. He just the way he moves from it, he goes, ta 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 ta. Yeah. And the kid's
Charlie Hunnam is fantastic.
He's brilliant. Another line I have written down is pretty much the opening scene where he comes home and he puts the kettle on. And Fletcher's behind him, and Fletcher just rings this kind of glass with ice in it. He's been drinking Charlie's, or he's been drinking Ray's whiskey. He's been drinking Ray's whiskey, and he just turns and goes, Fletcher, and he goes, Buenas tardes, Raymondo.
Yeah.
And he just goes, I should stab you with that fucking rolling pin.
Yeah.
And it's just a completely nonsensical line, but
I want to watch. I would love a buddy cop film with Fletcher and Ray as the
chemistry between them two is
they just bounce off each other so well.
Fantastic.
What's the steak he makes him?
The Wagyu.
Yeah. Raymond, any chance of a steak? Got some Wagyu in the freezer.
Wasted on you, but
I love that. That's
and then he's messing around with the barbecue, and he's just like. Just as Ray's walking around, he like kind of pokes it.
And
he goes, fuck me. He goes, careful, it's hot.
Yeah, I do. That barbecue is fantastic.
It's so cool.
It warms your knees and cooks your food. Yeah, I love that so much. I want that in my house, even though I'd have no room in my gardens, either of them to put it in, but I want to put it in. I want that out there just so I can shit in the heat.
Absolutely.
Make a steak. Yeah, that's just before the scene with Laura Pressfield because he goes to get the Wagyu out of the freezer and Aslan's body is in there.
Yeah, that's it.
Aslan, who's a surprise to Ray. Yeah, Ray doesn't know he's there.
Yeah, when he does. Well, he knows he's in his freezer.
No, but I mean, he knows when he goes to
there.
Pressfields to get Laura back. Yeah, the only one he doesn't know about is Aslan.
Yeah,
because he asks Aslan where he's from, and Aslan tells, "Do you need that?"
Yeah.
I've been told my accents are not always on point on these, so I'm going to keep doing them.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'd expect
I have to make sure I can't stop those now.
Laura Pressfield also played by Sting's daughter.
Oh, yes?
Yeah.
Sting as in
Roxanne.
Sting and the Police.
Yes.
And not Sting, famous WCW wrestler.
No.
Who made 2 fleeting appearances in WWE. Yeah, that scene, I don't want to skip past that because that's what kicks off pretty much the entire ending.
Yeah.
Is when they leave with Laura. They try to fight back against it's not Bunny, is it? No, Bunny walks Laura
Dave.
out.
They leave Dave.
Yeah. And Dave just fucks Aslan out a window.
Yeah. And it turns out Aslan's father is this Russian oligarch. So basically, so he sends people to clean house and Fletcher takes money off them to tell them where he is.
Yeah, the worst double agent in the world.
Yeah, so the ending is Fletcher shows up at Ray's, plan to take the money that he's blackmailed off them, leave, and then have Ray get killed by
and then collect
Russians.
The money from the oligarch as well.
Yeah, exactly. But meanwhile, Colin Farrell and his kind of...
Can we please talk about the toddlers?
Yeah, actually. We'll go back to the toddlers in a second.
Double back to the toddlers, yes.
So Colin Farrell has collected all his insurance policies. So basically, if Fletcher had been kidnapped, Fletcher had been killed, these insurance policies would have gone straight to the Daily Mail. So they put Fletcher in a box, and then Fletcher basically talks his way out of the box by telling them that the Russians will come to kill him. And he hears gunshots, and he runs around the corner, and Colin Farrell's after killing the 2 Russians, and he turns around, Fletcher's gone, and it's one of the funniest scenes in the film.
Leaps over a
Fletcher jumping like a clearly 60-year-old man. Jumping over these hedges is fantastic. I love it so much.
Backup policy you're talking about.
Oh, yes.
They get Big Dave, who is the head of the tabloids,
the head of
going
the
after
Daily
Mickey
Print.
Pearson.
Yeah.
They drug the fuck out of this man and let him absolutely go to town on a pig party. Yeah. Big Dave played by Eddie Morrison.
I love Eddie Morrison, actually. He's very funny.
Big Dave is hilarious. I think he has not my favourite line, because Charlie Hunnam got it.
Yeah.
When he gets snubbed by Mickey Pearson at the Lord's Festival or whatever they're at.
Yeah.
And it's Laura Pressfield's father, is it? Who turns around to Dave.
No, that was... I think he's credited as Lord Snowball. He's the one that it was his estate that got raided.
Oh, yes. It's him who Mickey's paying for the roof.
Yeah.
That's what it is, yeah. Because he just turns around and he's, I do believe that's a fuck off, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that so much. But yes, the toddlers.
The toddlers are fantastic. Headed by Bugsy Malone.
Ernie, because my right hand's hard and my left hand's sturdy. Yeah, the rap is hilarious.
It's so funny. It's so out of place, but I love it.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
this whole music
I wouldn't say
video.
it's out of place.
It is definitely out of place.
Yeah, but
even for as absurd as this movie
for
is,
a Guy Ritchie
still
film, I don't
seems
think anything can be out of place.
Yes, fair enough. But that scene where they get into the weed farm, they get to one of his locations, and the security guards or whatever they are come out, and they just consist. He's like, "Oi, Marv.
Yeah.
Oi, Dave.
And
Oi,
it's all
Ben."
just such, white middle-aged men.
Yeah,
and, and they're also just like, "Oh, governor," and all this stuff.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
They're so cockney, like.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But yeah, when they all come out and you're like, oh, okay, these boys are getting fucked up. Yeah. And then they're just like putting triangle chokes on and they're proper choking them out. Yeah. What's the back and forth between Colin Farrell and Bugsy?
Oh,
where
he's on about... call me a black cunt.
He called me a black cunt. And they're going on about travellers and...
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, but he didn't... Yeah, but he's not saying that black people are cunt. He's saying that you are black and you are a cunt.
And they're both factually true.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah. Fact is, you are black and you are a cunt. Those are the facts.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
It's very, very funny. I do think Ernie's great.
Yeah.
What I will ask you now is, like I said, it calls into the ending. Were they planning to kill Mickey Pearson? That's the...
Oh, yeah.
That's the plan. Yes. Yeah. I just... Because when I watched it the first time, I thought... when he says, do you know who was really behind it all? Fletcher says when he's in the...
Yeah.
And it goes to Colin Farrell.
Oh.
I took it immediately straight away he saves him, so that's blown out the window. Yeah. But I thought that was the big twist at the end, was Colin Farrell's going to kill Ray and Fletcher.
Yeah.
He's going to have to get a gun or something.
Yeah.
But and then the toddlers do try to take out Mickey Pearson, inadvertently saving Mickey Pearson.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
But yeah, the toddlers are so good.
They're brilliant, yeah.
And I would just play the rap if I could. They're my favourite part of the movie, I think, that isn't Charlie Hunnam.
Fair.
But they're just so good.
Fletcher's my favourite part.
If I was to pick the scene stealer that we like to pick, it's definitely Ernie and his boys. Just because
I'd pick Fletcher.
I don't think Fletcher can steal a scene when he is the movie.
Yeah.
So I think the toddlers, they're the only ones that coming into this film didn't know that I wanted to see in more things.
Yeah.
So I want to see Ernie now all the time.
Yeah.
But not as anyone other than Ernie.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him play anyone else. But yeah, this film's so good.
Yeah. This reviewed pretty badly in the States anyway. I looked at a couple of reviews and they didn't like it at all. In The Atlantic, which I don't understand this at all, they say that Matthew McConaughey seems completely checked out of the film and that Colin Farrell's character was an interesting character but had no impact on the plot.
I don't know about...
I'm very confused about it.
I don't know about McConaughey being checked out.
Yeah.
Because I can't understand how they came to that.
I really don't. David Sims of The Atlantic.
I thought he looked like he was having a lot of fun with it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, he looks really into this film.
Yeah, I don't understand where they're coming from here.
You could maybe stretch Coach not being vital to the plot.
Yeah, but to say he has no impact on the plot, it's ludicrous.
It does feel like it's not a... I wouldn't say he screams. He is the most important part of it. But he's not exactly... It's like when you can stretch Indiana Jones to say he's not actually in the film at all if you really want to. But he's one of the best parts of the movie, so I don't think it matters too much.
Exactly, yeah.
You could have the toddlers in it and not Colin Farrell, and you probably would get away with it. But it wouldn't be as good a movie.
No. And the other thing was... Roger Ebert, they talk about how Fletcher's telling this story and how he's this kind of dirtbag reporter. And then they kind of criticise that, like the kind of casual use of stereotypes, but I thought that was kind of intentional.
It's very intentional, yes.
Because this is like a tabloid journalist telling the story.
Yeah.
These are why he's kind of playing up the stereotypes. Like the only time Matthew makes any sort of a racial comment is when he calls a dry eye a duck-eating cunt. And that's in the scene which we know for a fact Fletcher completely made up.
And you mean, just to stress, Matthew McConaughey and not the character Matthew.
Yes, Matthew McConaughey. Then I think Rosalind says something about, again, when she says if you let trust this Jew with that Jew, and you let you let the fox in the hen house, and blood and feathers everywhere, and blood and feathers everywhere said like 2 minutes earlier by Fletcher.
Yes.
So I assume that was kind of meant to show that.
Oh, it's very intentional.
But they just, I don't know. This is Roger Ebert and
RogerEbert.com and not Roger Ebert.
No, it is not.
Yes,
but
not
Roger Ebert, the person,
famously deceased.
Yeah, but he did rate Snatch 2 stars and Lock, Stock 3 stars. So maybe
Roger Ebert has I don't. He's not my. I don't know that I would trust his opinion quite as much. No, he's got some particular tastes that I don't agree with.
Although he did give The Big Lebowski 5 stars, but this is like 10 years after it was released.
Yeah,
he changed his review.
He does 4 stars now too. Like that site now, doesn't it?
Oh, does he?
They do like 4 stars, which I always found quite strange. I'm going to double check that now while you talk.
Oh, I think there might be. Yeah,
I think he does like 3 out of 4 stars, which is insane. That's such a. This is why we don't trust. Being different for the sake of being different. This is why we don't trust. Roger Ebert never brought anything to anything ever, and that's coming hard from me. He considered a rating of 3 out of 4 stars to be the general threshold for a film to get a thumbs up.
I get a 4
because he's an idiot, David.
Well, he was.
He was an idiot. Rest in peace, my man. Yeah. But no respect for Roger Ebert. One of the many men. We're going after famous film people in this podcast. I've outed Steven Spielberg as a murderer.
Yeah.
And now I'm taking Roger Ebert to task. Yeah, that's the end of my notes. Is just Roger Ebert cunt. So,
yeah. So, Caolán, have you got a recommendation this week?
Yeah, I forgot that it was me this week.
Okay.
Until like yesterday, so I had to like think, but one jumped out at me straight away when I was in work yesterday on my lunch. I haven't actually I finished it, but not the spin-off things. Like,
okay,
I think it's the most different thing we've recommended yet. It's Ghost Shark 2. No, it's that joke's never gonna die, David. No. I'm gonna make that joke every week. It's an audio podcast series called We're Alive. It's a zombie story.
Okay.
But it's told through a podcast kind of thing. It's like 25-minute episodes. There's like 4 seasons, I think, with maybe 25 like episodes, but it's split into parts. Like it goes on for like years, I think. But there's 2 spin-off series. One's called Lockdown, which is told in a prison, and then there's another one called Gold Rush, which I haven't got to yet.
Okay.
But I went into it thinking it was, like those experiments where you hear people, you put earphones in and you hear people walking around you and stuff.
Yeah.
I put it in because I was just in that kind of mood where I was testing all that stuff out.
Yeah.
It's not that. But what it is it's like a zombie story told with, they're kind of Last of Us versions of zombies where they have like big massive bloating versions, and they have they have like really quick ones, they have really slow ones,
like video game zombies where you got different enemy types.
Yeah, they have like, it's like a Left 4 Dead kind of thing, maybe more so, where they have like ones that can like kind of talk, and it's very interesting. I'd say you might check it out. I don't think many other people will, but I think it's a really interesting idea. Maybe falters in some aspects, but I think it's a very cool idea that deserves being looked at.
I haven't listened to a lot of kind of fictional podcasts. I've listened to one that is like a podcast that's a fictional podcast,
which is
the Black Tapes.
Okay, yes, you've mentioned this to me before. I think
so. It's basically, the story is, it's this woman who's making a podcast about researching paranormal events, and it's her and this doctor called Dr. Strand, who created the Strand Institute to debunk paranormal events, and he's got these things called the Black Tapes, which are things that he can't debunk but also don't prove ghosts, essentially.
Okay.
So they look at, a black tape each week, and then there's kind of there's an overarching story going through it. It's very good. I'd also recommend it.
Yeah, I don't think fiction podcasts are too... I don't think there's massive acclaim for most of them.
No.
I know there's that one, there's the Black Tapes, and there's another, Alice Isn't Dead, that I would shout out as well. It's just told as a podcast, pretty much. There's no it's not like We're Alive has characters.
Yeah.
Whereas Alice Isn't Dead is told literally from the perspective of one person.
Okay, yeah.
And then maybe come season 3 or something, maybe they sometimes will have a different perspective. But it's mainly just told through the story of this one girl travelling from county to county looking for her fucking wife. And it's another really interesting one. There's 3 recommendations in one.
Yeah.
So get on We're Alive, the Black Tapes, and Alice Isn't Dead. Well, our recommendation for this week isn't a show. It's a medium.
Yeah, exactly.
Get into fictional podcasts, please. And then our podcast, mainly.
Yeah.
David, where can the people find us on the medias?
You can find us at 2 Men 1 Pod on Twitter, 2 Men and a Pod on Instagram, 2 Men and a Podcast on YouTube. If you want to get in touch with us, you can DM us on any of them. You can comment on YouTube videos. You can email us at 2menapod@gmail.com. If you're enjoying the show, give us a follow on Spotify, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, tell your mates,
tell everyone, not just your mates. Tell your mother, tell your grandmother. If your grandmother's dead, bury her, dig her up, tell her that a podcast, put her headphones on.
Yeah, she'll love it.
She will love it. It might bring her back to life.
Exactly.
No promises.
Yeah.
Money back guarantee.
Yeah, exactly.
If your nanny does not come back to life,
we'll give you a shout out.
We'll give you a shout out next week. Yeah.
But we do need photographic proof of you digging up your nanny.
Yeah. I need to see decayed grandmothers. I want that in my feed.
This is just a ploy for Caolán's fetish.
Yeah, I do have a dead grandmother fetish that I've really I've really gotten into. Yeah, well, a little bit of a shorter episode, but you've got 2 this week, so
yeah.
Thank you very much. We will be back next week with the Trial of the Chicago 7. Came out on Netflix 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
About 2 to 3 weeks ago.
So you've no excuse not to watch it. It is on Netflix.
Exactly.
I have not yet seen it, so I look forward to the Chicago 7, who are not the characters that Tarantino based The Hateful Eight on.
What?
What film was it?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, the Central Park 5. That's what it is. Yeah,
no,
it is the Chicago 7 that he
No,
based
that was the Seattle 7.
Seattle 7.
Yes, okay. Jeff Bridges' character in the Big
Yeah, I knew there was a reference to it at
yeah.
some stage. I had to bring it up. Yeah, not the Central Park 5.
Right.
We will cover the Chicago 7 next week.
Yeah, right. See you next week.
See you later, folks.